Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Friday. Okay, so getting into seeing my reading room, which me did you click? Did you click the normal me in my regular clothes with my hair up, or did you click the fancy me with my hair down? Yeah. Oh yeah? Okay, awesome. So I did that so we can compare and contrast. That's what we're doing today. Remember, we compare and contrast. We talked about it a little bit before Christmas when we talk about when we're comparing, we're talking about how something is similar, how they're the same. And when you contrast, you're talking about something that how they're different, whether it be how they act or how they look. And then we also did like two circles together. And then we found out kind of what was called a Venn diagram. And I'll show you that after because we're going to do that today when I read our story. But if we had to talk about comparing and contrasting the two misnotices, right? What's different about both of me? It's kind of funny to say, right? My hair was different in both of them. Yeah. So one had my normal hair up and one had my hair down. What was another one? How we were dressed. Yes. Very different, right? One was really ready to go to somewhere fancy and one was regularly dressed. How are the two misnotices the same? Yeah, we had the same eye color. We were making the same exact like shocked face, right? Because we were both looking at each other. So we were making the same face, or same even how we are completely standing too was the same. And they were both me. I don't even know if that counts. It's so crazy to think about. But so I put Freaky Friday up there. But that is how we compare and contrast. We're finding something that's similar or different about two things or more. So today we're going to read a story called Adrift, an odd couple of polar bears. Okay. Did you ever hear of the term polar opposite? If you didn't, that's okay. But sometimes a polar opposite is like you can take something and the complete opposite, like so different from it. That would be your polar opposite. All right. So here, they're trying to have two polar bears that might seem like polar opposites at first. All righty. Adrift, an odd couple of polar bears by Jessica Oline. Oh, I love the color there. That's so beautiful. All right, so before we start, there's gonna be two polar bears. We, at the end of our story, we're gonna compare and contrast the two main characters, the two polar bears in it. Well, there's more polar bears, so the two main ones, okay? That's what we're gonna talk about. There's how they're the same and how they're different. All right, so it says, Carl and Hazel are not friends. Oh, yeah, you read that. Not friends. Okay. Carl, this is Carl, thinks Hazel is mean. She never wants to play with the other polar bears. I don't know if that means she's mean, but anyway. She doesn't talk very much. She likes to sit and daydream in a quiet spot by the water. Okay, so we're getting to know Hazel, the girl polar bear, a little bit right now. She doesn't talk very much. She likes to sit by herself and kind of hang out. Let's learn about Carl. Hazel isn't mean. She is just shy. Are any of you shy? At times, yes. You might be a little nervous to talk, especially on like the first day of school or maybe your first Zoom call. I know a lot of you were shy and you're not so shy anymore. But anyway, I kind of feel like I was shy on my first video. Yeah, believe it or not, the teachers were. We were a little shy at first, but now we're just used to it. Hazel thinks Carl is too loud and that he smells like old fish, which he does a little. um, Now, if we were to describe Hazel, she's quiet, she's shy, she likes to be by herself. What about Carl? Yeah, he's loud. He likes to hang out, likes to goof off. Yeah, so they're different. They're pretty opposite, right? Opposite means not the same, different. One night, there is a big crack. All right, so look to see what happens here, right? So polar bears, they're all sleeping. And it looks like Hazel and Carl were sleeping on this kind of like chunk of ice, and it broke off. When they woke up, both Carl and Hazel were alone. In one direction, their home is getting further away. In the other direction is endless sea. So right now they might think they're alone because they're kind of on the sides of the iceberg right there and they don't really see each other. Again, I love these colors, the details in these pictures. As they float south, the ice float melts and melts and melts until, huh? So they didn't know they were near each other. It was almost like I don't even know if they could walk over to the other side. So they're floating along, and all of a sudden, it looks like Hazel made a noise like, ah. And Carl was like, what? Someone's here? Hi, it's me, Carl, from land. Right? He says it like really excited. And she's like, I remember you. Yeah. Of all the polar bears, Carl is stuck with the one who doesn't like to talk. Of all the polar bears, Hazel is stuck with the one who talks too much. There is only one thing left to do. This is my side. You can't come past this wall. I don't think that's what they should do, but right away they're making kind of like a divider, almost like a line, like I'm on this side, you're on that side, don't bother me. I feel like maybe if you have a brother or a sister, you might have done that before. So here, I'll zoom it in a little bit. So it looks like Hazel's hanging out, Carl's fishing, Carl's singing all by myself. And now, oh, that's Hazel's a book. Carl's building a snowman. Looks like Carl's playing a game with the snowman. That's kind of boring. What do you think Hazel's thinking right here? Yeah, maybe, hey, I kind of want to play. I'm kind of getting bored and lonely, right? I like being alone, but not this much. So yeah, maybe we're thinking. Then one morning, whoa, wow. Hi, birds, I'm Carl. Hi. Whoa, incredible. It looks like a flock of birds flew over, and it was like almost like so amazing. You kind of take your breath away. You're just like, wow, right? So that's what happened right here. After that, they got closer. They kind of bonded over something. They realized they both liked those birds. They liked seeing that. That was really cool. Like something in nature that was really awesome. And they both kind of bonded. That means they got along because of it. And closer. So look, they're almost playing with each other, and now they're kind of helping each other with the snowman. They play games. Ooh, they're playing games now. I spy with my bare eyes something blue. They take turns getting dinner. Oh, they're helping each other there with the fish. They sing songs. Row, row, row your boat. Oh, look, both are singing there. Yeah, it's not just Carl there, right? They're both singing there. Carl always sings the loudest though. That's understandable. They're still different a little bit. And sometimes they just sit quietly and look out at the water. What are you thinking about? Well, almost quietly, right? Carl almost could do it quietly. Again, I love those colors. After a while, Carl doesn't smell too much like old fish, or maybe Hazel just got used to it. Those look like two bears. I see them too. Sometimes Hazel worries that the ice will all melt before they see land, but she doesn't tell Carl. She doesn't want him to be worried. Oh, that's right, because they don't want their ice to melt, right? One morning, there is a tiny sliver of land on the horizon. That means kind of like as far as you can see, there's like almost like a line. I don't know if you see it whenever you go to the beach or something, and they could see land coming up. It's getting bigger and bigger. We're saved. They imagine what they will do when they get to this new place. Oh, look at all the kind of the polar creatures here. We got a reindeer, a snow fox, snow rabbit, penguin, a narwhal, a whale, maybe some walruses. I will eat and eat. Do you think that there are fish in the new place? I will run and explore and sit by myself. So as soon as they got there, they were going back to what they normally did. Hazel's like, I'm gonna go sit by myself. And Carl's like, I'm gonna go fish and eat and talk. The land looks so big, bigger even than the ocean. Suddenly, they missed their little ice float. Hazel? Carl? Oh, they miss each other, right? I think you're my best friend, Hazel, even when you're quiet. I think you're my best friend too, Carl, even if you talk a lot. Oh, look at them. And they lived cozily ever after. Hey, look. right? It looks like Hazel kind of got, she's having Carl read one of her books. He's liking it. Yeah. And it looks like that. And well, they maybe live in the igloo together. So that book kind of also reminded me a little bit of Chocolate Milk, Por Favor. Like a little bit that those two boys in that story, well, Johnny thought that they were very different, but they actually had a lot in common, and they were friends over that. Same thing, these two bears, they still are pretty different. You can still be very different from someone to be friends with them. You can like a lot of different things and still get along. But they got to know each other and they realized, wow, they're pretty awesome, right? So let's talk about comparing and contrasting. So I am going to share our screen. And let's go to here. Okay, so we're going to compare and contrast, if it will work, the book Adrift. And remember, compare. What is the same? How are they alike? Both are some words you could say, or alike, or similar, or same as. What is different? Contrasting is what is different about them. You might use the word unlike or instead, or on the other hand. So here we have comparing and contrasting Hazel and Carl. Okay, Hazel I put in the pink side right here and Carl's on the blue right there. So remember these two circles, they're called a Venn diagram. Can you say Venn diagram? What? Yeah, Venn with a V, the Venn diagram. So on the left side is for Hazel, on the right side is for Carl. I hope that's how it looks in your screen. And in the middle is what is the same, like what is very similar between the two of them. So let's talk. Hazel, what could you say about her? Yeah, she's shy, right? Which totally okay. And Carl, he talks a lot. When you're trying to say someone is the opposite of shy, you might say outgoing, but that just means they like to talk a lot. They like to talk to people, even people they're not too familiar with. They like to talk a lot. And Hazel's more shy. And I kind of went just by how they look, right? What could you say about what's different about how they look? Yeah, Hazel has that scarf. So I think it was always on her, right? And Carl always had his glasses. He has glasses on. So that's how they're different too. Now, how can we say, how were they kind of the same? Yes, they were polar bears. They both were polar bears. But what did they realize? Like once they got to know each other, how were they the same? How were they alike? Right? What were their similarities? Yeah, they both ended up actually liking to play games. At first, Carl thought Hazel was mean because she didn't play with them, but maybe she never got invited, right? Or maybe she didn't like playing that certain game. But remember when she peered over the wall and he was playing that game with the snowman? She kind of was like, we kind of thought like, hey, I kind of want to play, right? They like to play games. They end up playing some good games together. What else did they do? Remember when they got closer? Yeah, they were helping fish. And remember, he was like, all by myself. They started singing together. Yeah. At first, I was like, Hazel doesn't like singing, but they started singing songs together when they were finally friends on that iceberg, right? Started singing together. And even though they were very different, right? You can look at our Venn diagram right now, right? They had differences. The shy versus very outgoing is that's a big difference. Sometimes it's hard to get along with that, but they got to know each other and they realized she's not mean because she's quiet, right? She just likes different things. And Carl realized that, hey, maybe I could try the things that she likes to do. They liked each other's company. And then they ended up being best friends because of it. So they were still different, but they realized they had a lot in common too. So that was our Venn diagram right there. And you just compared and contrast. All right. So when you read a story today, okay, either you read it at home or on Raz Kids, maybe try and see if is there more than one character in your story. Maybe you can talk about how they're different. How are they alike? Right? Compare and contrast the characters in your story and tell someone. Okay. All right. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you watch all the other teachers' lessons. They have lots to teach you, and have a great day. Bye.